Hey, Peak Performance Master Show here. I wanted to go over with you guys the lesson of the month, which is Vision Board, and that'll be the lesson we're working on in November. So I'm going to start putting all these videos together to make sure that you guys are getting what you need at home to support what's being taught in the Academy. So if you miss a lesson in the Academy, you can make sure and get it at home. So this month we're doing Vision Boards, and we're in week 1 of Vision Boards. So when you look at vision, your vision is your goal on what you want to accomplish. Now you may hear them called visions, you may hear them called goals, short-term goals, long-term visions, short-term visions. It's all the same thing. So one thing I want you to download is this is the Be, Do, Achieve worksheet, and I want you to download this. And this is how we're going to run this process this month. I'm going to teach you how successful people set goals every month. So on this side right here is going to be the achieve. This is going to be the goal. This is going to be your vision. The do is going to be the action. What action are you going to take to get to this goal? And then on the do side, that's the character side. That's the kind of person you're going to have to be to get this stuff done. I didn't grow up with this. And so having to change my mindset, and that's what a lot of it about, is changing your mindset to be able to do the necessary action and work to achieve the goals that you have out there. So I'm going to share some information with you this morning, and then if you have any questions, please let us know. So vision or goals are going to be broken up into 2 different categories. One's going to be your near vision or your short-term goals, and one is going to be your far vision or your far goals, your far vision or your long-term goals. So up on the wall, you'll see the belts are up there. So when you look at the near vision or the short-term goals are going to be your next 4 belts, and that's what's going to go on your sheet. The long-term vision is going to be your 2nd degree black belt, and that's how you want to look at this. And so when you look at the short-term goals, this is what we're trying to accomplish each quarter over the next year. And so those are the first 4 belts are going to go for your testing in January, April, July, and October. And so your next test is coming up in January. So if you're a white belt right now, your next belt is going to be yellow, yellow 1, orange, and orange 1 stripe. For the jiu-jitsu side, it's a little bit different, and we're going to be incorporating a new belt system for them starting in January. Now I want to read a couple things to you, so just bear with me. So the one thing you want to make sure and do is you have to balance these 2 visions. It's super important. If you become overly focused on one of the 2, you lose sight of the other. And I think the one thing that happens a lot of times, especially when you're training in martial arts, is that when it gets a little tough, you lose sight of the long-term vision. Getting a black belt's not going to be easy, but I promise you it's worth the investment of time. So keep focus on your short-term goals, your short-term visions, as well as the long-term vision. So if you ever have any trouble with a short-term vision, keep eye on the prize. Make sure you understand what we're going for. And that doesn't make any difference what you're doing. It's like I tell my son in soccer all the time. He says, I keep making the runs and they just don't send the ball up to me. And I'm like, you know what? You got to keep your eye on the prize, because they may send the ball that one time, and if you take your eye off it, you're going to miss it. And so another thing we want to do is we want to work on daily routines. Stresses in work and school, family, your community, extracurricular activities can become so overwhelming that you lose sight of where things are at. I've played every sport there is, except for a few that say come from foreign countries. And I can tell you that the one physical development that always made me better at those sports was my martial arts training. And so I always kept that in mind when I played sports, and the balance and the coordination, my eye-to-hand coordination, my vision of things, my environmental awareness of things, how much better it made me at those sports. And that's one reason why I've always trained in the martial arts. So never overlook that process, but don't get caught up in the setup. So next month we're going to be going over goal setting and then month of action in January. So one thing you want to do is that as you're outlining each section, you want to make sure that you're outlining what the weekly steps are each week, and you need to do that. And you can actually put that on your job list. What are you going to do this week and on your practice sheet for your martial arts practice sheet? So I want to read something to you from Dennis Waitley. And it says, studies have shown, that's when you take information and you investigate it to make sure that you know what the outcome should be. Our studies have shown high achievers, no matter how different their personalities or work habits, their occupation or gender, the people who accomplish great things in life have visualized and expected success all along. They've had the ability to vividly picture their achievements and reassure themselves in the face of long odds that they would come through. So what that's basically saying is that, visualize where you're going to be at. And don't let anybody get in the way of that. There's going to be people that, no, you can't do that. What are you doing? And that's part of that's just jealousy. Let me share some more. To visualize the person you want to most become, set aside some time this week in which you can create an atmosphere conducive to reaffirming your life dreams. And what that means is that you want to make sure and put yourself in an environment, whether it's here at the academy or at home, that you know that what you want to accomplish can come true. And that means surrounding yourselves with the right people, and right support systems. That's super, super important. Don't surround yourself with people that are like, yeah, you're just not going to do that. You're not tall enough. You're not short enough. You're not smart enough. You're too smart. Whatever it is, they're naysayers. We want to eliminate them from our lives. You may want to sit quietly with yourselves too. This is something I highly recommend. Turn the TV off, turn the phone off, turn everything off, and just get into a place where you can be quiet and just kind of let your mind just settle and understand and focus on what exactly you need to accomplish. Some may call it meditation, some may call it, mind dumping, whatever, but there's times that being quiet is super, super important. We don't have all this outside interaction and distraction going on all the time. Now, once you get relaxed and optimistic, focus on what you want to become in the future. Do this in 2 different time frames. Look at it a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Actually see yourself with that belt on, with that goal you want to accomplish. For the adults, what career or business do you want to have? Look at it that way. Now, design in your mind, think about promotion day. When you're getting that belt, what's it going to feel like? What's it look like? How are you going to feel? So visualize all those things and keep visualizing that, because then it trains the subconscious mind. That's the part of the brain that works behind the scenes. The things we think about, that's called TOMA, top of mind awareness. The subconscious mind is like the computer working in the background doing a search query that we're not actively looking for, but it'll eventually bring something to us. So we want to make sure we're really doing that. Second, imagine you're watching a movie of your life and you're in it and you're getting your belt or your black belt or your second-degree black belt, and you're really seeing and visualizing that. Don't be shy. You're loading what Mr. Watley calls visualize software. And especially for you young people, the way your brains are wired, completely different than your parents and mine are wired. You guys are much more in tune with the electronic signatures around the world based upon, all the computers and TVs and tablets and phones, that electronic, in the movie they call it the Matrix. That's that electronic signature that's running around that you guys are much more in tune and adapt to. So use that to put that into your brain, your software, as Mr. Whately calls it, just like a computer. So I'm going to give you guys a task to do for today, for this week, and it's going to be, I want you to kind of build a poster. One, I want you doing your Be to Achieve sheet, but I also want you doing kind of a movie poster. Now, I'm not a good draw. I'm not a good artist. So, but I try it anyways, and I do it all the time. So what I want you to do, I'm putting it there so I can kind of read off a little bit. So what I want you to do is just take that information and draw yourself. It can be an 8.5 by 11 sheet. Design the movie poster for the movie set in the future for you. So you got a black belt on, right? What is the theme of your poster? Who may be the characters in the poster other than yourself? What's the title of it? Johnny's second degree black belt promotion, whatever it is. What will catch the moviegoer's eye? What exciting success are you portraying in the poster? Be creative, and then turn your homework in, and then you get an extra red stripe from one of the instructors. So this is the first week and lesson number 1 of this week. So just go through that. You have all the information on the resources section. Download it, read it, and then do the homework and turn that in so we can get your extra stripes to you. And then I'll see you for lesson 2 of week 2. Master Shell out.